lovely bit of improvisation from Johnny Lomax, who was man of the match by a million miles, to get Jack away for the first try. He was kind of well off balance and somehow managed to hook the kick into the corner. By the way, I don't know whether you bothered to watch the after show at the screen with Lomax and John Wells, but it shows just what an intelligent footballer Johnny Lomax is, and his analysis of the game was superb.
I saw it.
He'll make a coach, that fella.
I didn't take much of it in. I went out on Friday night and then watched the game when I got in. And so I was drunk and tired by the time I got to that part.
Tired and emotional by that.
There was no emotion. But what I would say is, it's a good point you're making. I did see other people making that point. I mean, Lomax played really well, and although his personal try was fortuitous, he definitely deserved it, and it was the icing on the cake for that St. Helens performance. Lomax and his intelligence and his understanding and reading the game and that sort of stuff, that's one of the things that is a big plus in the Sean Wayne column with Lomax, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've heard Wayne talking about how much he's been impressed by Lomax's sort of student of the game, wanting to know more, wanting to understand everything, learning about everything, and expressing what he sees and understanding things.
Yeah.
That's the kind of character Wayne wants.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's right, and I mean we've talked about this before. I'd like to see Johnny be able to convert some of what he does for Saints onto the international stage. Let's hope he can, because he's going to be an important player for England in the World Cup. That's for sure. I think.
Yeah, and this was a good game for him to play well in, because Warrington are okay. They've not been brilliant so far this year, but they are one of the other top teams. They weren't. I think they were competitive for 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Without a doubt. I just, that kind of like, it's almost like Kendall gave 7 offsides, 1 each, back and forth. Once he got to that 7th and it was 4 for one side, he was like, right, that's too many, that's a yellow card. And then he kind of left that, like one of the fan views said. It kind of didn't come up again. And I can't believe that there was no one offside again. But Warrington just had lost it by that point. Then after that, you'd grown into the game, and they never did out then.
No, so it was 4-2. The offside count was 4-2 Warrington Saints at the time. Williams was sin bin. That isn't for me a justification. I mean, he'd called the captains out and warned them what he was going to do. So he kind of backed up what he was going to do. Personally, I didn't think it was necessary, and it absolutely wouldn't have made any difference to the outcome of the game. But there wasn't then. I don't think there was an offside then for 8, 9, 10 minutes, something like that, until later in the half. So I don't know what they do with that. I don't think they keep sending players to the sin bin the next time there's another one.
No, I just think it's crazy that we got to that many penalties and players were still being offside. So I can understand a card coming out. It's like, what should the refs do? They try and tell you to get onside, and players just ignore it.
Yeah, I've watched it again. Both sides were trying to be fast off the mark. I remember both sides play the game that way. I understand it, but both sides were offside. I mean, I've watched every one of those penalties, and they were all right. They were Kendall was right every time on that. I honestly don't think it changed the game. I mean, what it did was it evened the game up. We were down to 12, they were down to 12. So we actually had the same numbers of players on when Saints took hold of the game, and scored the first try of the match. So we were the better side by a distance, and I think Warrington, unless Warrington can get more go forward from that pack, I don't think they're going to compete for the big pots this year, unless they can sort that out, because they're not getting enough go forward at the moment. And the halfbacks, Williams and Widdop, it isn't. I mean, Ratchford's playing really well. I don't think Williams and Widdop, I'm not convinced by that as a pair. I like both of them, but somehow it doesn't seem to me anyway to be working quite
individually. They've both done some good stuff in the games I've seen of them. I just haven't really seen them working together. I don't think Darryl Clark's having his best start to the season either. The right edge defence for Warrington was a bit exposed as well, I think, without Charnley in there. Makinson and Percival took the piss a bit at times, didn't they, out of Matautia and the young kid. You mentioned the injuries. So what sort of length of time frame do you think are on the 3 forward injuries that Saints have got? Wellesby got an injury too, but they think he should be okay for Toulouse.
Yeah, Wellesby's okay. Makinson's okay. He was he hurt his leg at one stage, which is why Dodd kicked the last 2 goals. But both of those look like they're going to be fine.
Good, because I haven't got enough fucking transfers to take Walmsley and Makinson out of my fantasy team. When
Makinson's going to be fine.
Crying off fucking getting on the plane.
Makinson's going to be fine. Don't worry, bud. So Batch is out for a week. Joe Batch is out for a week because he's got concussion. He's come back okay from that, but he's on the 11-day protocol, so he's got to miss this weekend. Walmsley 2 weeks, so he'll miss this week and he'll miss the cup game. And then Matautia is the uncertain one. That's 4 to 6 weeks.
Right. Okay.
We'll have to wait and see.
So the squad first time the squad's going to start getting tested, because you basically lined up 1 to 17 apart from Regan Grace, didn't you, in that game?
I think we're slightly lucky, and this is not to sort of downplay at all the challenge over the next 2 weeks. But having Toulouse this week, although obviously some sides found it hard, but having Toulouse this week and then Whitehaven in the cup should. By that stage, we'll have Batchelor back, we'll have Walmsley back. The other good news is we do have a deep squad, so players like Amor, Siren's only started off the bench so far. Bell hasn't even got a game yet. Wingfield hasn't had a game yet. So to be honest, we're going to need those players over the course of the season. They need to start getting some game time at some stage. So I'd like to see, we should be able to use the opportunity to get those players some serious minutes under the belt over the next 2 weeks. And then we'll see where we are.
Yep. Okay. On to Saturday. Exciting game in the afternoon. Huddersfield versus Castleford. It was 18... sorry. 18-0 at half-time. I've got a really dry throat tonight. I don't know what's going on. 18-0 at half-time. This was the third of the 3. But it ended up 36-24 after Cass had taken a 24-18 lead at the start of the second half. 5,717 were there. James Child was the referee. In terms of the teams, this game had the most missed tackles / tackle busts, because they go hand in hand, so far in any game this year. The Giants, though, with 15 fewer missed tackles / 15 more tackle busts, so they were on the better side of it. It left Cass on only 88% team tackle success rate. That's bad. Cass also went from having the joint most successful offloads in a game this year last week with 19 to the joint least this week with only 1. Big change around there. Giants made more meters, more breaks, more busts, more offloads, fewer errors, and had a 3.3% better team tackle success rate. They deserve to win this game.
Yeah, it's only surprising, really, that it took them to quite late in the game to actually make that superiority count. For the winners, in his senior 135 metres, Ricky Latelli, 3 tries, 9 tackle busts, 113 metres, 3 clean breaks, and turned into the match winner with the last 2 tries. Luke Yates, 1 try, 110 metres. Jerry, 1 try, 5 tackle busts, 105 metres, and 2 clean breaks. For the losing team, Greg Eden, a try assist, 141 metres. Darryl Alferts, 133 metres. Daniel Smith, 5 tackle busts, 128 metres. And Joe Westerman, 42 tackles and 126 metres.
First fan review goes to Fat Boy Rob. He says, utter shy again. We can't defend and our attack is piss poor. After the offload fest of last week, we went back to Radford's preferred trial of 5 shit drives and an even shitter kick. 5 minutes of my Twitter friend Eden Magic gave us hope, but in the end we got what we deserved. Fuck all. If Alferts keeps his place over Eden on Thursday, it's time for the pitchforks. I think it's if Faraimo gets back in over Eva, Rob, is where I'd go with that. He also added, the 2 Huddersfield sin-bins were a joke. Ours seemed legit. I'm not sure how Lawler avoided a ban. He must have tipped him so far it became safe.
I didn't see that again. I only saw the highlights of this one.
Yeah, and they didn't put the sin bins on the highlights.
No,
which was an interesting editorial choice.
James Blakeborough says Giants looking good with depth this season, steady in defence and inventive in attack. Felt nervous even at 18-0 up, and oh, how how right I was. Left out brains in the changing room at half-time, plus some tough sin bins, particularly Jerry's. Hill, Levi and McQueen's influence can't be underestimated. Latelli on fire and big raps to Ollie Russell. Man of the match for me. Radford looked like a man who dropped his chips at the end.
He was too busy worrying about netball, I think. Fucking idiot. Yeah. Mark W. said, there's one man to blame for the Cass comeback, and I'm sorry to say it wasn't any of the players. It was me. After I pointed out at half-time that we'd not conceded in 2.5 hours. Yes, some sin bins were more sinful than others, but I'm more interested in our response to them. We stuck to the plan and pulled it back in the exact kind of game we'd have lost by a drop goal before Watson. Hashtag Operation Piss the Lead.
Ooh. Paul Mac 78 says, strange game. Even when Cass came back, I was still confident the Giants would win. The sin bin swinging momentum both ways. I thought Levi and Tui were good for us, and Watts was strong for Cass. He made a very nice break for Cass's first try. The Tigers are definitely missing some of the trademark flair under Radders. Giants will finish in the top 4. Easy.
Pop the Viking said, Huddersfield deserved this win. The better team won on the day. The Giants' 2 sin binnings were questionable. Cass showed some fight to come back, but I think the Cass fans will be getting the Radford out bed sheets ready. That's going to keep going until it happens, isn't it?
It is, definitely.
And they're on TV this week at Wigan, which I'm pretty sure is where the Radford out bed sheets first appeared for Hull fans.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of Hull fans, Scoots. Cass come down after the cup final last weekend. I did think a comeback might be on the cards after half-time, but then they remembered how they are meant to play and reverted to normal.
White Pie said, Operation Piss relegation is in full swing. Fat Boy Rob will be enjoying his trips to Cumbria next season.
Bit harsh. Carsten, it was bedsheet time, thanks to the back to good Radders, and now bedsheet time. Oh, sorry. It was bedsheet time, then back to good Radders, and now bedsheet time again. I hope the Megastore has a good offer. A bizarre game, Mark. I mean, all the stats point, again, I only saw the highlights of this, all the stats point to this being a relatively comfortable win for Huddersfield. But they had to pull it out, the chestnuts out the fire, because Cass got right back into it and, in fact, into the league, didn't they?
Yeah, it really should have been an easy game for Huddersfield. The first half, they were very good. I mean, Cass had the sin bin in for a professional foul by Truman. He pulled back McQueen, I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was McQueen when he was chasing a kick. Now, it was that old debate of penalty try or yellow card for foul play, because he certainly pulled him back. That was without doubt. McQueen's having a great year, by the way. He didn't keep scoring in every game record, but he had a really good assist on the Yates try. So he's still making an impression, and the pull back on the Simmons. So he's really making an impression still. But that dominant first half by Huddersfield, it did mean it was kind of amazing that Cass came back into it like they did. They came back into it in part helped by being a man up. Huddersfield got 2 sin bin-ins that were questionable. I'd say they were the wrong calls, but the refs only got one live look at it, and they looked like other things that have been sin bins this year, so I can sort of see the point that was of why they were called. We can't call the refs too much for it, I don't think, and the and touch judges and that, but the Levi one in particular, there was nothing in it. It was giving us a late tackle, but it was really kind of Westerman passed the ball, and then Levi wasn't trying to tackle him but was going towards him. He kind of pulled out, kind of bumped him. There was no head flexion, but what happened, I think, was involved somewhere. Westerman seemed to hurt his shoulder. He went down holding his shoulder, not his back, neck, head, and none of that. Right. But the ref saw after the ball had gone, guy goes to the floor, and I think they thought it was from the impact he went